Hello again everyone, welcome to my end of season 2 Fall Guys level tier list. I'm KingBlackToof, and what you can see over that direction is the end of season 1 tier list that I did a previous video on. So we had quite a lot of levels in C tier and quite a lot of levels in F tier. And apparently it didn't even have an E tier. It goes A, B, C, D, F. But then again, the alphabet doesn't start with S, so we're all fine. So it'll be interesting because we've got 5 new levels: Big Fans, Night Fever, Hoopsie Legends, Wall Guys, and Egg Siege to put in as well, with things might get shuffled around, and also a lot of variations which might bring some up. We might see some glitches that pull some things down, and so it'd be very interesting to see where they move. I'll talk about that as we go across. We may also do a comparison towards the end of the video. Okay, so before we get started, don't forget that this is about the whole of Season 2, not just Season 2.5. So basically any variations would count into the Season 2. So if they've been there for a long time and you've probably forgot that they even exist, that they didn't exist in Season 1, you have to take that into account as well. For S tier, first of all, Hexagon is definitely still the best round in the entirety of Fall Guys. It used to be 90% skill, 10% luck in Season 1 for me. I'd say that's gone down to something like 60% skill, 40% luck. And it's not that it takes less skill, it's just that luck takes a larger factor now, which is really weird when you think about it, because everyone's so good, it often comes down to the final 2 layers are the only 2 layers that matter. If you built up like a big amount of advantage on upper layers, it doesn't cascade very well because everyone eats the layers below you, you haven't got anywhere to go, so you end up just falling a longer distance and then you're back with everyone else on the lower layers. So oftentimes, it can also come down to you on the final layer, and you're still running around, don't know what to do. You're just looking for an opportunity to cut people off and get an advantage, even on the final layer. So it's really strange that it comes down to that, but it's still, in my opinion, the best designed round in the entirety of Fall Guys. To follow on from that, we have Slime Climb. That also hasn't changed since Season 1. That is still one of the better designed levels. It's got new variations like the log, and most importantly, the end variations with the hammers, which were very difficult for people, but people now know how to deal with them. But now they've got the thick bonkers, and people need to learn how to deal with that. So a lot of really good variations on Slime Climb, and it's still, again, one of the better rounds in the entirety of Fall Guys. So I am going to put another S tier level, and it's one of the new ones. It is Wall Guys. I do think Wall Guys is an S tier level now. It was A tier because of the grabbing issues, but that has been fixed in Season 2.5. So now, there's not all of them are fixed. Like sometimes you can just let go, but I think that's a latency thing and quite rare. Overall, I do think the level is just S tier though. It's got good parkour. There's a lot of strategy. Like if you can't jump up and you want to wait for the walls to lower, you push the blocks away and no one's going to push them forward again because it'll help everyone else and not you. So then everyone waits for the walls to lower, and that just gives you a natural equalizer. And I think it's a lot of foresight from the developers to make the walls lower. And honestly, I just think it's a really well-designed level and really gets to show off your parkour skills quite a lot. So I really like that level every time I play it. And it doesn't matter if it's high qualifications or low qualifications, you get a decent shot. So, moving on to A tier, and the first level I want to do is Night Fever. I think it's well designed. It's got some nice difficulty spikes in the middle with the rollout sections or the seesaw sections. Overall, a lot of variations that actually matter. There are some parts of variations in other levels that don't make much of an impact, but I think Night Fevers do here and there. I also think it's got some of the most fun big yeeters in the game. It's got like several big yeeters that you can use and have a lot of fun with, and you don't have to get too stressed out like, for example, slime climbs or fruit shoots. You can have it, and if you fail, it doesn't matter. You can try again or just go normally, and you've got enough time to deal with it, which is good. Next up, I want to put in Hoopsie Legends. Hoopsie Legends, again, is an A tier level for me. It's been on A tier for a while. The reason it's not S tier with Wall Guys is because of the golds. They're either too prevalent or they take too many points. So if you made the golds less common, or that they didn't exist at all, or that they're only worth 3 points, it'd probably be an S tier. I think it's got good parkour, you've got good strategies to be more efficient than your opponents, and understanding the layout of the level and what's most effective and stuff like that is really, really useful. So I do find that level to be fun. Just with low qualifications, the golds are a bit too over relied on, unfortunately. Next up, I do want to put Hoopsie Daisy. Hoopsie Daisy hasn't really moved since Season 1. It's been pushed down a little bit, but it's still one of the better team games in my opinion because you can't be 2v1'd, and it also allows you to feel like you're doing something every time. It's got some new variations where there's a lot more golds, and that spices things up. It's nice to get golds. I don't think it's too bad of a level. There's a lot of luck in the level, of course. I don't think it's everyone's favourite team level, but still, I think it's rather fun, and there are strategies on, going into areas where other people aren't and trying to take advantage of that. Next up, I'm going to do Dizzy Heights. Dizzy Heights has always been a really, really good, clean race level. I don't think its position has moved, but other things have gone in front of it. Basically, most of the Season 2 new levels have gone in front of it. But it's probably the level with the most amount of new variations. And again, they all make a massive, massive impact. Some of the later sections can really change and knock a lot of even the best of players down. So it's a really, really fun level to play a lot of the time. And I think all its variations do a good job of changing the way you play. So we're going to move on to B tier. And the first B tier level I want to say is Tiptoe. Tiptoe has always been an interesting level to play. With the added thick bonkers that have come out, it changes the way the game is played completely if you get the thick bonkers, because it adds a massive amount of combat factor. Normally combat factor is not a thing in Tiptoe, but these thick bonkers add a lot. The game can go on for like another 20 seconds after the path has been discovered because people just constantly get knocked off. And I do think that's an interesting aspect to Tiptoe which has improved it. I would also like to put up Big Fans, the Season 2.5 level. Again, it's a really nice level to play. It's got no variations whatsoever, which is why it's B tier and not any higher. But overall, I think the parkour, even though it's like almost a copy-paste of Seesaw, I think it's more fun. It's not so reliant on other people. And there's a lot of strategies. You can wait on a particular fan. You can jump dive over if you're worried about falling. You can jump, it's a little bit faster. Or you can run around the inner section if you're completely okay with your own skill and there's no one pushing you around. So I just think it's a really fun level. Just lack of variation really hurts it, and hopefully that'll get improved later and it'll push it up the tier list just slightly. So the next B tier level for me is Fruit Shoot. This has basically stayed where it has from Season 1, although Big Fans has gone in front of it and Rock and Roll has sort of left. And the reason is Fruit Shoot's Big Yeetus are really, really good. One of the complaints is that, if you make a mistake, that's it, you're out, there's no way to come back. The Big Yeetus allow that. Big Yeeters should always be used. They're very reliable in my opinion. But also the variations of like the football gear getting fired down, the blueberries and strawberries, which is really hard, and sometimes just the bananas is a bit massively crazy. So there's a lot of unique variations, and the Big Yeeters really seal the deal to keep it at a B tier for me because I really like that. Okay, so after a little bit of deliberation, this has been very difficult, but we're going to move on to C tier now. And I'm going to first of all put Perfect Match there. Perfect Match is a very strange one because it's basically two completely different levels. If you've got the vanilla, it's like F tier, pretty boring. If you've got the rod variation, then it's something like B or A tier. So it's really strange. So I'm just going to put it in C tier for now, high C tier. I enjoy playing Perfect Match, especially the one with the room killer that just eliminates half the show, even 3/4 of it. It's really nice. It needs to be a bit fairer. If you spawn next to the rod, it should just pause for 2 seconds before the show starts so you can move away. But overall, some really nice fun. You can wait on the corners. You can try and bounce in the middle. You can just play normally and jump over the bar. And there's because you are getting pushed to the sides, there's greater effort for griefing. People enjoy griefing the sides a bit more. So overall, it's really kind of nice. Just, the vanilla one kind of lets it down. Hopefully it's not too common, the vanilla one. But overall, it's a nice addition. I really like what they did with the variation on that one. Hopefully we get more variations. Something to do with fruit might be quite useful. So next up for me, I'm going to do Whirligig. Whirligig is, again, one of the more vanilla race levels that's always been fun. But now they've got a couple of extra variations, definitely towards the end of the level, that really just make it a lot more fun. Like you've got the massive Dizzy Heights rotating belts, and you've got the bars that go super quick, which almost feels like a trap a lot of the time. So Really nice variations added onto Whirligig, which has kind of cemented it in place of where it is. Even though other things will have moved up, it didn't lose its position, which is really nice. So next up, I'm going to actually say Rollout is a fun level. I think the variations have really helped pull Rollout out of like F and E tier, raise it up to like C tier now, where you've got shortened rolls and also the fruit. The fruit aren't as impactful as I wanted them to be. If you get smacked by a fruit, it knocks you over, but that's pretty much it, unless you were jumping. But it's still something to focus your attention, and you do have to be careful of them. So it gives you something to do. It makes it a lot less boring, and that's really all that was the problem with Rollout. It was boring. So they really sort of fixed that issue with the variation and pushed it higher up. So the next level I'm going to put in is Jump Showdown. This has been pulled up, I believe, from D tier for me. Up to mid-C tier, mid-high, because they fixed quite a few things. It's gone back to nice fast speed. They fixed the seam eating your jump and the fact that you neutral jump and you couldn't jump again quickly afterwards. They fixed the fact that if you jump onto the seam, you'd fall over. So it plays well. The only issue is grabbers again, which is lowering it for me. I'm not a fan of the grabbers. I know people are, and people are putting it in like A and S tier, but I just don't like the grabbers. I like the jumpers, I think. However, there is also a bug. When the tiles wobble, I ragdoll so much, I can't even jump off. That is an issue that has only just recently appeared with the Season 2.5 update. So that's why it's not going higher. I'm happy to see Jump Showdown occasionally, but not all the time. Doesn't matter how it goes. It's just sometimes it's a bit too long. Sometimes you get grabbed and there's nothing you could have done. So C tier is kind of where I'm happy to put it for now. So next up, we've got Rock and Roll. This has actually lost a couple of points because of the variation system. The variation on here are hammers and stuff like that, and they can be inherently unfair. You can get hammers that just allow your ball to go straight down the sides and into the goal, or you can get hammers that push it out of the sides, and then you lose like 10 seconds, and it's really, really annoying. You've also got like bar pushes, which can push the ball straight back up, which is annoying. The variation system on this is okay, but is unfair. It's lost a couple of points for that. I think it was unfair to be that high anyway. So I think it's, again, mid-C tier. It's okay to play every now and then. So next up, I want to give props to Jump Club. Jump Club is another rollouty one where it's kind of boring to play. It's still somewhat boring to play, but there's more going on now. The fruit is a lot more dangerous if it clips you here because you'll fall over and that will kill you. But it's not as fun as Rollout, I think. You don't get as much freedom. You're still doing the same thing of just sort of waiting for the bars and jumping. But it's been improved. It's definitely dragged it up quite a few tiers, so that's kind of nice. So next up, we've got a very generic one, which is Seesaw. Couple of variations on Seesaw. One that makes, the vertical seesaws make a massive difference. But overall, not too much. It's an okay level. Not much to say about it, really. Next up, for C tiers, I'm actually going to put Egg Scramble. I actually really like Egg Scramble when you've got low team counts. If you've got 4 or 5 person per team, it's really fun. You get to show your skill and get as many eggs as you can. It's not a massive mess. Whereas when you've got 11 versus 11 versus 11, 33 players, it's a complete cluster and I hate it. So we'll average around the middle area. Egg Scramble, I kind of like it. With the variations of like all gold eggs or a giant golden egg, that adds some nice interesting factor to it. So it's kind of kept its position and hasn't lost steam to some other levels, which is kind of nice. The next level I want to add on is Block Party. This hasn't changed since vanilla and it's still pretty meh. You could say it came with variations out of the box though, but it's okay. You have to pay attention, and it allows people to grief. It allows people freedom to do certain things. So it's an okay level. Again, not much to write about on that one. The next level I want to add on is Fall Ball. Fall Ball is, I always felt, a decent level. And I think people are getting a lot better at it now. The variations they added on are mostly not great. The hammers are inherently unfair as well. The auto goalie doesn't feel good for most of the time, and the thing in the middle is okay, although I like doing the jumping header strat personally. But overall, I still like the level. The variations are okay, but nothing major, so it stays where it is, really. The next level I want to add on is Hit Parade. Hit Parade, again, has some different variations, but nothing major. It's an okay level, very similar every time you play it. I do actually like the spinning bars. You have to be very careful on them. They can absolutely kill you, but overall, just a very simple level. Low C tier is okay. It's an okay level. So moving on to D tier levels. My first one is Gate Crash. It's got a couple of variations where the timing's different, but that really doesn't do much. It's exactly the same as it was almost 4 months ago. Nothing special in it, not hard, not inspiring. It goes in D tier. It's okay though. I mean, it's okay to see, but nothing inspiring on that one. Next up, I want to put on Egg Siege. It's a worse version of Egg Scramble. Very defensive heavy, not much strategy at the beginning. There are some really unique strategies that are coming out, like the elevating the egg up to your base. But overall, it's just a worse version of Egg Scramble, I think, because it's too big, defense is too good, and it's all about the egg core, but there's not even a good way to really do much there. So it's definitely not great. One of the worst levels to come out of the new season. And so it's just D tier for me. Okay, so next up we've got Fall Mountain. This has actually gone down in the tier list. So the added variation added a lot of luck, so it went down due to the massive amount of luck. I might have been a bit harsh, but it was sort of, let me just check actually. I think it was like C tier, right? Oh, it was B tier, wow. I actually really kind of liked it, but it went down a lot now recently because the massive ball variation, I can't even remember if that was Big Yeetus Season 1 or whether that was Season 2. I think it was Season 1. But the crown glitch that has just appeared has really tainted me on Fall Mountain. The glitch has moved it down several places now. Quite a lot of places, in fact. I don't like seeing Fall Mountain because not only do I have to worry about massively RNG areas, but also if I even get to the crown, I might not even grab it. So it's just like really is kind of a garbage level now for me. Next up, we've got Royal Fumble. Royal Fumble is Royal Fumble. There's a glitch in it, an exploit where you can get out of the bounds, so it's kind of still garbage too. But you don't hardly get it, so it's really hard for me to say anything about it. I got it like maybe 3 days ago after like a month of not getting it. I thought it was I was really excited to play it, and it all come down to a massive grabs fest. And then I was, okay, I'm done with it now. But luckily you don't get it too often, so it's going to stay where it is in the tier list. Okay, so this E shouldn't even be here. So we're going to go back to F tier now. F tier. Welcome to F tier, everybody. The first game in F tier is Team Tail Tag. It's okay. You know, there's some new variations with thick bonkers that are kind of fun, and it's okay. It's just a little bit of a waste of time. You don't see it much anymore, but it's better than the ones to come, basically, is what we can say. But next up, we've got Tail Tag. And Tail Tag has always been a dodgy one because tail grabbing is just inherently difficult. But with the removal of jump dive grabbing, it's made it extraordinarily harder to actually get tails. With the new Big Yeetus, you've got new exploits. And everyone's just bouncing around everywhere. It's so hard to actually play this level properly because everyone's just going woo woo woo. So it's moved down for me because just the amount of hammers and everything that's being just thrown in, I don't think it actually improves the level in any way. So that's where it goes. Next up is Jinx. Jinx, like I said before, is kind of where it always has been, quite in the F tiers because it's a coin flip. It's a shame. It is a fun level. You know, it can be fun if you're not too stressed about winning. You always get it early on, and that's why it's, you know, you can be good at running away, you can be good at chasing, so it at least beats the last two levels that we've got left. And the last two levels are DoorDash and Hoarders. Okay, so basically, DoorDash is now garbage tier because you can't tell any of the doors. And so it's 100% luck, and it just feels really bad. It's a horrible level, and I don't like playing it. I actually beat Jinx. That's how bad it is. Jinx is at least fun to play until you find out you've lost. DoorDash is just terrible. Hoarders is still the worst game mode because that's a minute and a half of terrible. And that's my tier list. So, you know, quite a few levels. These ones up here, if I do that, is it ruined everything? No. I do that, perfect. I like that most of the Season 2 levels are really good. And also the Season 2.5 is really decent as well. So their newer levels have really good quality, well designed. I like it. Everyone thought Hoopsy Legends was just a reskin, and it's clearly not a reskin. I mean, they probably didn't have to put too much effort into it, but it's well designed, and I really like that. That again is a kind of a reskin of Seesaw, but again, it works. So I'm very happy with it. Egg Siege is garbage, though. I think that one, a lot of effort went into Egg Siege. You can tell the level design on that is really, really nice, but it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work as an Egg Siege level. You can see a lot of things in C tier and around there have moved around based on the variation system that came out recently. So that's my tier list for the end of Season 2. Tell me what you think. Let me know if you agree or disagree with several of it. And I'll see you next time. I'll see you in Season 3. But also tomorrow. Take care, everyone. I'll see you again very soon.